Hello, dear listeners. Tonight, I am taking you to the place where a legend written in blood and sweat was born, the heart of ancient Sparta. Welcome to the Another Life channel. If you enjoy this kind of real history content, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. You are standing in the courtyard of your father's house for the last time. Today is your 7th birthday. In Athens, or Thebes, or anywhere else in the civilized world, this day would be filled with honey cakes, wooden toys, and the laughter of relatives. But this is Sparta, and today is not a celebration. Today is a funeral for your childhood. The sun is warm on your neck, casting long shadows across the familiar dust of the yard where you learned to walk. But despite the warmth of the sun, you feel a deep, penetrating cold in your stomach. You look up at your mother. She is standing by the loom, her hands gripping the worn wood so tightly that her knuckles have turned white like polished marble. She is a Spartan woman. She is not allowed to cry in public. She is not allowed to show weakness, for her duty is to the state, not to her heart. But you see it in her eyes. It is a terrified, silent scream. She looks at you as if she is trying to memorize the curve of your face, the specific shade of your eyes, the way your unruly hair falls on your forehead. She knows that the boy who walks through that gate today will never come back. If you return years later, you will be a stranger. You will be a weapon. She is mourning you while you are still alive. Come, your father says. His voice is deep, calm, and utterly final. It vibrates through the air, shattering the silence. He does not hold your hand. He walks ahead of you, expecting you to follow. He is wearing his crimson cloak, the wool dyed the color of fresh blood, and his steps are heavy and confident. To him, this is a day of pride. He is paying his tax to the city. He is giving a soldier to the state. You take a step. Your sandals crunch on the gravel, a sound that seems deafeningly loud. Instinct screams at you to run back to your mother's legs, to bury your face in the folds of her dress, to smell the olive oil and lavender one last time. But you don't move backwards. You are 7 years old, and you already know the first rule of your bloodline: obedience. You walk out of the gate. You don't look back. You know that if you look back, you might break. The walk to the barracks, the Agoge, feels like walking to the gallows. You pass through the wide, unpaved streets of Sparta. There are no great stone walls protecting this city. The men are the walls, or so they say. You see other boys, your age, walking with their fathers. None of them are speaking. They look like small, frightened ghosts. The silence in the streets is heavy, suffocating. It is the sound of a city holding its breath, watching its sons march toward their fate. You arrive at the edge of the city, at the foot of the wild, jagged mountains. Ahead of you lies a compound of low stone buildings surrounded by a high wooden fence. The smell hits you before you even enter. It is not the smell of home, roast meat and comfort. It is the smell of unwashed bodies, wet wool, ancient dust, and sharp, metallic fear. The gate is open. An older man stands there, leaning on a heavy staff of olive wood. He wears a tunic that is stained and frayed, and his face is a map of scars. He is the Paidonomos, the warden. He looks at your father, nods once, and then looks at you. He doesn't smile. He doesn't offer a word of welcome. He looks at you exactly like a farmer looks at a goat he is about to purchase at the market, checking for defects, assessing the meat. "Name?" he grunts. Your father says your name. It sounds strange coming from his lips in this place, hollow and distant, like he is already letting go of it. Your father turns to you. For a second, just a heartbeat, you think he might hug you. You think he might kneel down, look you in the eye, and tell you he loves you. But he is a Spartan. He places a heavy hand on your shoulder. The grip is firm, almost painful, digging into your collarbone. "Do not shame me," he says. "That is all. Know I love you. Know be safe." Just a command to protect his reputation. He turns around and walks away. His red cloak billows once in the wind and then disappears into the dust of the road. You are alone. The man at the gate grabs the back of your tunic and shoves you inside with surprising force. "Move, little dog," he spits. "Your life belongs to me now." The gate slams shut behind you with a heavy wooden boom. The sound echoes in your chest like a drum. That sound is the end of your freedom. You look around. The yard is filled with boys, hundreds of them, ranging from your age to young men of 20. But their eyes are hollow. They stop what they are doing and look at you. They are looking at the new meat. "Strip," a voice commands. You look up. A group of older boys, irons, surrounds you. They are not adults, but they are giants to you. They carry whips made of leather strips. You hesitate. You have never been naked in front of strangers. Crack. The whip lashes out, stinging your calf. You gasp, tears springing to your eyes instantly. "I said strip," the leader barks. Trembling, your small fingers fumble with the clasp of your tunic. You let the soft wool fall to the ground, then your sandals. You stand there, naked, shivering not just from the wind coming off Mount Taygetos, but from a shame you have never known. "Your hair," the leader says, pulling a knife from his belt. It is not a barber's tool. It is a rusted iron blade used for cutting meat. He grabs your hair, the hair your mother combed this morning, and hacks at it. You feel the cold metal against your scalp, the tugging, the scraping. Clumps of soft brown hair fall into the dirt at your feet. With every cut, he is severing the connection to your past. The boy who liked to play in the garden is being carved away. They toss you a single garment, the chiton. It is a rough, scratchy piece of wool, dyed a dull grey. It is too big for you, and it smells of the boy who wore it before you, sweat and mildew. "Put it on," the iron sneers. "This is your house, your bed, and your blanket for the next year. Do not lose it." You pull the scratchy fabric over your head. It itches instantly, irritating your skin. You look down at your feet. "Where are my sandals?" you ask, your voice trembling. The older boys laugh. It is a cruel, dry sound. "Spartans do not need leather to protect them from the earth," the leader says. "Your feet will become like leather, or you will not walk at all." He points to the mess hall. "Go, eat. If you are slow, you starve." You run. Your bare feet strike the sharp stones of the courtyard, sending shoots of pain up your legs. You grit your teeth. You follow the herd of other 7-year-olds into the long, dark hall. The smell inside is overpowering. It smells of boiled blood and vinegar. You sit on a hard wooden bench, squeezed between two other boys who look as terrified as you feel. A bowl is slammed in front of you. Inside is a black, viscous liquid, the melas zomos, the black broth. You stare at it. It looks like sludge. You dip your wooden spoon in and bring it to your lips. The taste is indescribable, metallic, sour, salty, and thick. Your stomach heaves. You want to spit it out. You look around. The older boys are watching. If you refuse to eat, they will beat you. If you vomit, they will beat you. You swallow. The hot, foul liquid burns your throat. You force down another spoonful, and another. Not because you want to, but because hunger is already gnawing at you, and fear is a powerful motivator. Night falls quickly in the valley. There are no lamps lit for you. Darkness engulfs the barracks. You are herded into a large room with a dirt floor. There are no beds, no mattresses, just piles of river reeds pushed against the walls. "Sleep!" the warden shouts from the doorway. "Silence!" You crawl onto the reeds. They are sharp and brittle. They poke through your thin tunic, scratching your ribs. The ground beneath is freezing, sucking the heat right out of your small body. You curl into a ball, pulling your knees to your chest, trying to preserve whatever warmth you have. The room is filled with the sounds of 200 boys. The air is thick with their breathing. And then it begins. A soft whimper from the corner, then a sob from the other side. The darkness allows what the daylight forbids. The boy next to you is shaking, his breath coming in jagged gasps. He is crying for his mother. You feel a lump form in your throat. It hurts physically. You close your eyes and see her face. You want to cry out. You want to scream that you want to go home, that the reeds hurt, that you are cold, that you are scared. But you bite your lip until you taste blood. You lie perfectly still. You listen to the weeping of the others, and you make a silent vow in the darkness. You will not be the one who breaks. You will not be the one who cries. You stare into the pitch black above you. The silence of the stone walls presses down on you. The life you knew is dead. The boy named you is gone. Here, in the dark, shivering on a bed of sharp reeds, something else is beginning to take shape. Something harder, something colder. You close your eyes, but sleep does not come. Only the cold comes, and it whispers to you that this is just the first night of thousands. The darkness is heavy. It presses against your eyelids, darker than any night you knew back in your father's house. You are not asleep, not really. You are drifting in a shallow, restless haze, your body curled tight like a fist to conserve whatever heat remains in your core. The sound of 200 boys breathing fills the room, a rhythmic, collective shivering. Crack. The sound shatters the silence like a thunderclap inside the room. It is the sound of a cane striking wood. Harsh, violent, immediate. "Up!" a voice roars. It sounds like gravel grinding together. "On your feet, now!" Your heart hammers against your ribs, a frantic bird trapped in a cage. You scramble up. The reeds rustle loudly as bodies collide in the dark. There is no time to rub the sleep from your eyes, no time to stretch or yawn. You stand barefoot on the freezing dirt floor. Your feet are small, the skin still soft from your life as a child, but the cold from the ground shoots up through your legs, making your knees tremble. You lock your knees. You force the trembling to stop. To shake is to show fear. To show fear is to invite the cane. You look down at yourself. You are wearing the chiton, that single, thin piece of grey wool. It is your only possession now. It barely reaches your knees. Your legs are bare. Your right shoulder is bare. You can see the goosebumps rising on your skin, looking like the texture of a plucked chicken. "Outside," the voice commands again. You join the stream of boys pushing towards the heavy wooden doors. As you step over the threshold, the wind hits you. It is the wind coming down from the snow-capped peaks of Mount Taygetos. It carries the scent of pine and ice. It slaps your face, stinging your cheeks. making your eyes water instantly. The courtyard is a vast expanse of packed dirt. The sky above is a bruised purple, slowly bleeding into a pale, icy grey in the east. To your left, the mountains loom like monsters waiting to swallow you whole. You line up, shoulder to shoulder with the other boys. You can feel the heat radiating from the boy next to you, and you instinctively lean slightly closer, just a millimeter, to steal a fraction of his warmth. He does the same. You are a herd of shivering animals. In front of you stands the Irons. These are the older boys, the 20-year-old leaders who have survived what you are just beginning. They are not shivering. They stand like statues carved from bronze. They are wearing deep crimson cloaks, phoenikis, that look thick and warm. Their hair is long, carefully combed, falling over their shoulders in oily, dark waves. They hold whips made of leather strips, the handles polished by sweat and use. They are walking down the lines, inspecting you. One of them stops in front of you. He is tall. From your height, he looks like a giant. His legs are thick with muscle, scarred from brambles and blades. He looks down at you. His eyes are dark, devoid of pity, scanning you for a loose thread, a dirty face, a slouch in your posture. You hold your breath. You stare straight ahead at the bronze clasp on his chest. You do not blink. The wind bites at your exposed arm, turning the skin a mottled blue. You want to wrap your arms around yourself. You want to cry out, but you stand rigid. "You are shaking," the Iron says. His voice is quiet, dangerous. "No, sir," you whisper. The lie tastes like ash in your mouth. He reaches out and touches your bare shoulder with the tip of his whip. The leather is cold. "The cold is your teacher," he says, leaning in close. You can smell his breakfast on his breath, barley and goat cheese. Your stomach growls loudly, a traitorous sound in the quiet morning. He hears it. A small, cruel smile touches his lips. "And hunger is your mother now." He moves on. "Run!" The command echoes across the courtyard. The line breaks. You start to run, not a jog. You sprint. The ground is uneven, frozen hard. Small stones dig into your soles, sharp and unforgiving. You wince, but you keep moving. You run out of the compound, down the path toward the Eurotas River. Your lungs burn. The air is so cold it feels like you are inhaling glass shards. But you cannot stop. The older boys run alongside the pack, their whips cracking at the heels of the slow ones. You hear a scream behind you. A boy has fallen. You don't look back. You just pump your arms harder. You reach the riverbank. The water is grey, rushing fast over smooth stones. "In!" the warden shouts. You freeze. The water looks like liquid ice. But the boy next to you jumps in, splashing water everywhere. You follow. The shock hits you like a physical punch to the chest. The water is freezing. It steals the breath from your lungs. Your muscles seize up. You gasp, thrashing for a moment before finding your footing on the slippery riverbed. "Scrub!" the command comes. You rub your skin with the rough river sand. There is no soap. There is no warm towel waiting for you. This is not hygiene. This is a test of will. You scrub until your skin is red and raw. Your teeth are chattering so hard you think they might crack in your jaw. Out! You scramble up the muddy bank, dripping wet. The wind hits your wet skin, and for a moment you think you might die. The cold is agonizing. It feels like burning. You grab your thin tunic and pull it over your wet body. It offers no warmth. It just clings to you, damp and scratching. But there is no time to shiver. The run back to the barracks begins. You run to generate heat. You run to stay alive. By the time you reach the mess hall, steam is rising from your small body. You are alive. You survived the morning. Now you face the second enemy, the hunger. You enter the mess hall. Long wooden tables are set up. You sit. A large cauldron is brought out. The smell of the black broth, pork boiled in blood, vinegar and salt, fills the air. To a modern nose, it would be repulsive. To you, right now, it smells like the nectar of the gods. A bowl is placed in front of you, but it is not full. It is barely half full. You look at the boy across from you. He is bigger than you. His name is Lycos, wolf. He has a flat nose and eyes that are too close together. He finishes his bowl in 3 large gulps. Then he looks at yours. He doesn't say a word. He just reaches across the table. In a modern school, in the life you left behind yesterday, you would call for help. You would say, "He is stealing my food." But there are no teachers here. There are only the irons, and they are watching with amused interest. They want to see what you will do. Lycos grabs your bowl. Panic rises in your chest. If you don't eat, you will be weak. If you are weak, you will fall during the afternoon training. If you fall, you will be beaten. "No," you say. Your voice is small, trembling. Lycos laughs. He pulls the bowl harder. You have a choice. Let it go and starve, or fight. You are 7 years old. You have never hit anyone in anger. But the hunger is a primal force. You grab the other side of the bowl. The hot broth splashes onto your hand, scalding the skin, but you don't let go. Lycos looks surprised, then angry. He stands up and shoves you. You fly backward, hitting the dirt floor hard. Your head spins. The bowl falls, spilling the precious black liquid into the dust. The mess hall goes silent. 200 boys are watching. The iron steps forward. He looks down at you. "Get up," he says. You scramble to your feet, wiping the dust from your tunic. You expect him to punish Lycos. You expect justice. You point a shaking finger at the bigger boy. "He took my food," you say. The iron looks at Lycos, then at you. Then, without warning, he strikes you across the face. The blow is sudden and shocking. Your cheek burns. You taste blood in your mouth. You stumble back, looking at the iron in confusion. "He took it because he was strong enough to take it," the iron says, his voice echoing in the hall. "And you lost it because you were weak enough to let him." He turns to the room, addressing everyone. "There is no justice here. There is only strength. If you want to eat, you fight. If you want to keep your cloak, you fight. If you want to live, you fight." He kicks the empty bowl across the floor. It spins noisily. "Now, get out. You eat nothing until dinner." You walk out of the mess hall, your stomach cramping with emptiness, your cheek throbbing. You watch Lycos licking the last drops of broth from his lips. He grins at you, a predator's grin. You go out into the courtyard. The sun is higher now, burning off the mist. The older boys are starting weapon practice. The clash of bronze against wood fills the air. You sit in the dirt, leaning against a cold stone pillar. You are hungry. You are cold. You are alone. But as you wipe the blood from your lip, something changes inside you. The tears that were threatening to spill dry up. The fear in your chest hardens into a cold, heavy knot. You look at Lycos across the yard. You memorize his face. You memorize the way he walks. You are not thinking about your mother anymore. You are not thinking about your toys. You are thinking about how, tomorrow morning, you will be faster. You will be stronger. And if he touches your bowl again, you will not just pull back. You will bite. You will scratch. You will do whatever it takes. Because the iron was right. The world of fairness is gone. That world ended at the gate. Here, in the shadow of the mountain, there is only the pack. And in the pack, the sheep are eaten, and the wolves eat. You close your hand into a fist. It is small, but it is hard. You are beginning to understand. You are not a boy anymore. You are a survival machine in the making. And tomorrow you will eat. You sit in the dirt for a long time, the hunger gnawing at your belly like a living thing. The sun climbs higher, burning off the morning mist, turning the freezing courtyard into a dusty oven. The temperature swing in the valley is brutal, from shivering cold to sweating heat in the span of a few hours. This is how the metal is tempered. Freeze it, burn it, hammer it. Form up! The command cracks through the air. You scramble to your feet. Your legs feel heavy, drained of energy because you haven't eaten. But you run. You always run. You form lines in the center of the palestra, the wrestling ground. The earth here is churned up, soft and sandy, mixed with the blood and sweat of generations of boys who stood exactly where you are standing. An older man walks into the center of the circle. He is not an iron. He is a paidonomos, a warden. He is old, perhaps 40, which makes him ancient in Sparta. He is missing an eye. The lid is sewn shut with a thick, jagged scar that runs down to his jaw. His left arm hangs slightly stiff, likely from an old spear wound. He does not carry a whip. He carries a heavy wooden staff, polished smooth. He walks silently, looking at the 200 of you. The silence stretches until it becomes uncomfortable. You can hear the buzzing of flies. Pain, he says. His voice is a low rumble, like distant thunder. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is a messenger. It tells you that you are alive. It tells you where you are weak. He stops in front of a boy 3 spots down from you. He raises his staff and without warning strikes the boy across the thighs. Thwack! The boy yelps and grabs his leg, tears springing to his eyes. The warden looks disgusted. You drop your guard when you are in pain, he says. You focus on the sting. In battle, if you focus on the sting of an arrow, the spear that follows will kill you. He turns to you. Your heart stops. You lock your eyes on his single good eye. It is blue, pale as ice. Step forward, he commands. You step out. You are small for your age. You feel tiny next to him. Hit me, he says. You blink. Sir? Hit me, he roars. With everything you have. You hesitate. Striking an elder is death, but disobeying an order is death. The trap of the Agoge. You make a fist. You swing at his stomach. It is a weak, fearful punch. It bounces off his abs as if you hit a tree trunk. He doesn't even blink. Pathetic, he spits. You hit like an Athenian flute player. He sweeps his leg. You hit the sand hard, the air leaving your lungs in a wheeze. Before you can recover, he presses the end of his staff into your chest, pinning you down. You are afraid to hurt, he says to the group, keeping you pinned like a bug. You think violence is anger. Violence is not anger. Violence is a tool, like a hammer, like a chisel. You must learn to use it without feeling. He lifts the staff. Get up, pair off. You are paired with a boy named Xander. He was the one crying on the run this morning. He has soft eyes and a trembling lip. He looks at you, silently pleading for mercy. In the village, before yesterday, you might have been friends. You might have played with wooden horses together. "Wrestle!" the warden shouts. "The loser misses dinner." The stakes change instantly. It is no longer a game. It is your empty stomach against his. Xander hesitates. You do not. You remember Lycos stealing your broth. You remember the hunger cramping your gut right now. You lunge. You wrap your arms around Xander's waist and drive your shoulder into his chest. You both go down into the sand. It is clumsy. It is ugly. You are 7-year-olds rolling in the dirt, grunting and scratching. Xander gets his arm around your neck. He squeezes. You panic. The dust fills your nose. You can't breathe. "Bite him!" the iron screams from the sidelines. "Gouge him!" Your morals scream no. Your mother taught you not to bite, but your lungs scream for air. You open your mouth and clamp your teeth down on Xander's forearm. You bite hard. You taste the salt of his skin, the metallic tang of blood. Xander screams and lets go. You scramble on top of him. You pin his arms with your knees. You raise your fist. You look down at his face. He is crying again. He is terrified. You see yourself in him. "Finish it," the warden commands. You look at the warden, then you look at Xander. You bring your fist down, not on his nose, but on his shoulder. Hard enough to count, but not hard enough to break bone. "Pinned!" you shout. You roll off. You stand up, chest heaving, spitting sand and blood. You don't look at Xander. You can't. You feel sick. Not from the exertion, but from what you just did. You hurt someone to save yourself. The warden walks over. He looks at Xander, who is clutching his bleeding arm. Then he looks at you. He nods, barely perceptible. "Good," he says. "But next time, break the nose. Merciful soldiers die young." The training continues for hours. Wrestling, running, carrying heavy stones from one side of the yard to the other, then carrying them back. Pointless, breaking labor designed to destroy your spirit so they can rebuild it. By the time the sun begins to set behind the mountains, you are exhausted in a way you didn't know existed. Your body is a map of bruises. Your skin is raw from the sand, and you are starving. The hunger has returned, sharper than before. You gather in the mess hall. You survived the wrestling. You earned your meal. But when the bowls are brought out, the portion is even smaller than the morning. A few mouthfuls of the black broth, a small crust of hard bread. You eat it in seconds. It touches nothing. Your stomach roars, demanding more. The iron stands at the head of the table. The torches cast flickering shadows on his face, making him look demonic. "You are hungry," he says. It is a statement, not a question. "Yes, sir," 200 voices murmur. "Good," he says. "A full wolf sleeps. A hungry wolf hunts." He paces the room. The state provides you with enough to survive. It does not provide you with enough to be satisfied. Satisfaction is for the weak. But he pauses, a glint in his eye. The pantry is behind the kitchens. Inside, there are wheels of cheese. There are dried figs. There is bread made with honey. A collective groan goes through the room. You can almost smell the honey. "It is guarded," the iron continues. "Slaves watch the door. Dogs patrol the perimeter. But if you are smart, if you are quiet, you can take what you need." He leans forward. "Listen closely. Stealing is not a crime in Sparta. Getting caught is the crime. He tells you the story of the fox, the boy who stole a fox cub to eat, hid it under his cloak when he was stopped by a magistrate, and let the panicked animal chew through his stomach rather than reveal he had stolen it. The boy died without making a sound. He died, the iron says, not because he stole, but because he valued his honor more than his life. But you do not sleep. The hunger is unbearable now. It keeps you awake, sharp and demanding. You look around the dark room. Shadows are moving. Other boys are slipping out. You make a decision. You wait until the moon goes behind a cloud. You rise from your reeds. You move silently, placing your bare feet carefully to avoid the dry twigs. You slip out of the door. The night air is freezing, but your adrenaline keeps you warm. You stick to the shadows of the columns. You watch the patrol of the irons. They are walking the perimeter, carrying torches. You time their passing. 1, 2, 3, go. You dash across the open space, staying low, your belly almost brushing the dirt. You reach the back of the kitchen building. You can smell it now, the yeasty, sweet smell of baking. It makes your mouth water so much it hurts. There is a small window, high up, too high for a man, but you are small. You find handholds in the rough stone wall. You climb. Your fingers bleed, scraped against the rock, but you don't feel it. You pull yourself up to the ledge. You squeeze through the opening. You drop down into the darkness. You are in the pantry. The smell is intoxicating. You feel around in the dark. Your hand touches something round and hard, a wheel of cheese. Next to it, dried figs in a basket. You want to gorge yourself right there. You want to stuff your mouth until you choke. But you remember the lesson. Getting caught is the crime. You take a handful of figs. You break off a chunk of cheese. You shove them into the fold of your tunic, holding them tight against your chest. Now, the hard part. Getting out. You hear footsteps outside the door. Voices. A slave and a guard. They are laughing, stopping right in front of the door. If they come in, you are dead. Not literally, perhaps, but the whipping you will receive will make you wish you were. You freeze. You press yourself into the darkest corner, behind a stack of amphorae. You hold your breath. Your heart is beating so loud you are sure they can hear it. Thump, 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 thump. The door creaks open. Torchlight spills into the room, cutting a slice of orange across the floor. You see the dust motes dancing in the light. You see the shadow of the guard stretching long across the wall, looming over you. He steps in. He looks around. The light passes inches from your face. You squeeze your eyes shut. You think of the fox. You think of the boy letting the animal eat his guts. You will be stone. You will be shadow. Did you hear something? The slave asks. The guard grunts. Rats. The place is full of them. He grabs a hanging sausage from the rack. Let's go. The door closes. The darkness returns. You let out a breath that shakes your entire body. You wait 10 minutes, 20. Then you climb back out the window. The run back to the barracks is terrifying, but you are lighter now. You are ghost-like. You slip back onto your bed of reeds. No one saw you. You pull the blanket over your head. In the absolute darkness, you bring the cheese to your mouth. You take a bite. It is stale. It is hard. It is salty. It is the best thing you have ever tasted in your life. You eat the figs one by one, savoring the sweetness, feeling the energy rush back into your blood. You wipe the crumbs from your chest. You look at the sleeping boy next to you. Xander. His stomach is growling in his sleep. You have a piece of cheese left, a small piece. You could wake him. You could share. You look at his tear-stained face. Then you look at your own hand in the dark. You eat the last piece of cheese yourself. Compassion is for the weak. Sharing means less for you. And tomorrow you need to be strong. Tomorrow you might have to wrestle Lycos again. You swallow the last bite. You feel a strange sensation. It is not just fullness, it is power. You defied the rules. You took what you wanted. And you won. You close your eyes. The stone floor doesn't feel as cold anymore. The hunger is gone, replaced by a cold, hard knot of pride. You are learning. You are changing. The boy go through the gates this morning is dying. The wolf is waking up. You open your eyes before the crack of the cane. This is the first change. Yesterday, you were awakened by the violence of the wood striking the door. Today, your internal clock has adjusted. The fear has rewired your brain. You are awake in the pitch black, your heart already beating a slow, steady rhythm, waiting for the signal. You can still taste the ghost of the dried figs and the salt of the cheese you stole last night. It is a secret warmth in your belly, a small ember of rebellion against the freezing room. Next to you, Xander is still asleep, twitching in a nightmare. His stomach makes a hollow, gurgling sound. He is starving. You are not. For the first time in days, you feel a surge of something other than misery. You feel an edge. Crack. Up! The routine is instant. You are on your feet. But today, there is a tension in the air that wasn't there yesterday. The Irons, the older leaders, are not yelling for you to run immediately. They are standing by the door, holding torches. Their faces are grim. Stand fast, the leader bellows. The 200 boys freeze. You stand at the foot of your reed bed, shivering in your thin tunic. Your heart skips a beat. They know. The leader, a brute named Krios, walks down the center aisle. He is holding a half-eaten wheel of cheese in one hand and his whip in the other. He holds the cheese up high, the torchlight illuminating the bite marks. Someone, Krios says, his voice dangerously soft, was hungry last night. He begins to walk the lines. He is not looking for crumbs. He is looking for guilt. He stops in front of a boy 3 rows down. He grabs the boy's chin, forcing his mouth open, smelling his breath. He pushes him away in disgust. He moves closer to you. Your pulse hammers in your neck. If you are caught, the punishment is not just a beating. It is public humiliation. It is starvation for a week. It could be death if they decide you are too clumsy to be a Spartan. Krios stops in front of you. He towers over you, the smell of sweat and oil emanating from his skin. He leans down. The torch crackles. He sniffs the air around you. You don't breathe. You don't blink. You stare at the bronze clasp on his shoulder, willing your heart to slow down. I am stone, you tell yourself. I am a shadow. Krios stares into your eyes. He sees something there. Maybe it's the lack of fear. Maybe it's the slight fullness in your cheeks that wasn't there yesterday. A slow, terrifying grin spreads across his face. You look alert this morning, little wolf, he whispers, so only you can hear. He knows. He absolutely knows. You brace yourself for the blow. You expect the whip to tear across your chest. But the blow never comes. He straightens up and turns to the group. Someone stole from the mess hall, he shouts, and whoever it was not caught. He throws the cheese to the ground. Stealing is a skill. To take from the enemy without being seen is the mark of a warrior, but to get caught is the mark of a fool. He turns back to you, his eyes gleaming in the firelight. But rest assured, if I catch you tonight, I will flay the skin from your back. Now run. You burst out of the doors, sprinting into the icy dawn. You didn't just survive the inspection, you passed a test you didn't know you were taking. You learned the most important lesson of the Agoge. There is no morality here. There is only competence. It is not a sin to steal. It is only a sin to be slow. Time begins to blur. Days turn into weeks. Weeks turn into months. The routine of the Agoge grinds you down like a pestle in a mortar. Run, wrestle, eat, freeze, sleep, repeat. The seasons begin to change. The biting wind of autumn gives way to the crushing weight of winter. Winter in Sparta is not a quiet blanket of snow. It is a weapon. The temperature drops below freezing and stays there. The Eurotas River develops a thin crust of ice at the edges. And you are still wearing the same single thin woolen chiton. You have no shoes. Your feet have changed. The soft pink skin of your childhood has peeled away, replaced by thick yellow calluses. You can step on sharp stones now without flinching. You can run on frozen mud without slipping. Your feet look like the paws of an animal, cracked, hard, and ugly. But they are functional. One morning, the order changes. "To the river," Krios commands, "but leave your tunics." A murmur of fear goes through the ranks. It is snowing lightly. The air is so cold it burns your lungs. To enter the water naked today is madness. You strip. The wind hits your bare skin like 1,000 needles. You stand on the riverbank, your small body turning blue in seconds. "In!" You jump. The water is not just cold, it is a shock that stops your heart. You gasp, inhaling water, thrashing. Your limbs feel heavy, sluggish. The cold penetrates your muscles, reaching your bones. It feels like your blood is turning to slush. "Stay!" The command comes from the bank. The Irons are wrapped in their warm red cloaks, watching. You tread water. You look at Xander next to you. His lips are purple. His eyes are rolling back in his head. He is going into hypothermia. "Move!" You hiss at him through chattering teeth. "Kick your legs, Xander! If you stop, you die!" You kick. You splash. You fight the numbness creeping up your fingers. You are not fighting the water. You are fighting your own body's desire to shut down. You focus on the pain. The pain is good. The pain means you are still alive. After what feels like an eternity, but is probably only 10 minutes, they let you out. You crawl onto the mud. You cannot feel your hands. You cannot feel your feet. You try to stand, but your legs collapse. You are shaking so violently that you cannot speak. This is the moment many break. You hear sobbing. You see a boy curled up in the mud, refusing to move, surrendering to the cold. The Irons descend on him with whips, not to be cruel, but to force the blood to move, to force him to get up before the cold kills him. You force yourself up. You run in place. You slap your arms against your chest. You scream a silent scream of rage against the winter. I will not freeze. I will not break. That night, the atmosphere in the barracks changes. You are huddled together for warmth, a pile of limbs and shivering bodies. You survived the river. You survived the winter day. But the warden enters the room, and the silence falls instantly. He is holding a bundle of sticks. He throws them onto the fire pit, stoking the flames until they roar. It is the first real fire you have seen in the barracks in months. The warmth is intoxicating. You all lean forward, desperate for it. "You survived the water," the warden says, his voice low. "Good. But water is easy. Water is honest. It tells you it is cold." He looks around the room, his one good eye gleaming in the firelight. "Tonight, we test your mind." He points to the door. Outside, the blizzard is picking up. The wind is howling like a pack of wolves. "Tonight," he says, "you do not sleep inside." The air leaves the room. To sleep outside in this weather, with only a thin tunic and no fire, is a death sentence. "The barracks are for soldiers," the warden continues. "But you are not soldiers yet. You are still soft. You still seek comfort. Tonight, you will sleep in the courtyard. No huddling, no touching. Each boy must find his own place. Each boy must face the cold alone." He kicks dirt onto the fire, extinguishing it instantly. The room plunges back into darkness. Out. You walk out into the storm. The snow is falling sideways. The ground is a sheet of ice. You look at Xander. He is crying silently, defeated. You look at Lycos. He is snarling, pacing like a caged animal, trying to keep warm. You find a spot near the stone wall, out of the direct wind, but there is no escaping the cold. You sit down. You pull your knees to your chest. You tuck your head down. You wrap your thin tunic as tight as it will go. The cold settles in. It is not a sharp pain anymore. It is a heavy, drowsy weight. It whispers to you. "Just close your eyes," it says. "Just go to sleep. It will be warm in your dreams." You know this voice. This is the voice of death. If you fall asleep now, deep sleep, your heart will slow down and never speed up again. You have to stay awake. You have to fight the most powerful urge in the world. You start to recite the verses your father taught you, the songs of Tyrtaeus. It is a beautiful thing when a good man falls and dies fighting for his fatherland. You mumble the words through frozen lips. You pinch your own leg, hard, digging your nails in until you feel the sharp sting. You use the pain to anchor yourself to the world of the living. You look up at the sky. Through a break in the storm clouds, you see a single star. It looks cold and distant, indifferent to your suffering. "I am Sparta," you whisper to the star. "I am the stone. I am the ice." You rock back and forth. You survive minute by minute, hour by hour. You watch the boy 3 spots down from you stop moving. The snow begins to cover him, turning him into a small white mound. You want to go to him. You want to shake him, but you can't move your legs. You are frozen in place, and part of you, the part that is becoming a wolf, tells you that it is better there is one less mouth to feed tomorrow. You are alone in the universe, just you and the cold. And then, after 1,000 years, the sky begins to turn grey. The dawn comes. You force your eyes open. Your eyelashes are frozen together. You push yourself up. Your joints crack. You look around. Most of the boys are moving, groaning, rising like corpses from the grave. But the boy 3 spots down does not move. The warden walks over to him. He touches the boy's neck. He shakes his head. 2 slaves come and carry the small, frozen body away. You do not cry. You do not feel sad. You feel alive. You stand up, the snow crunching under your calloused feet. You survived the night. The boy who needed warmth is dead. The thing that stands in the courtyard now does not need comfort. It only needs to conquer. You look at the mountain. It tried to kill you, and it failed. 5 years have passed. If you looked in a mirror now, you wouldn't recognize the boy who walked through the gates at age 7. That boy was soft. That boy had fear in his eyes. That boy is dead. You are 12 years old now. Your body has stretched and hardened. You are lean, made of ropey muscle and scar tissue. Your skin is brown from the sun and tough like cured leather. You have not worn shoes in 5 years. You have not slept in a bed in 5 years. You have not hugged another human being in 5 years. The herd has thinned. Remember the 200 boys who entered with you? Look around the courtyard. There are only 140 left. Some died of the cold. Some died of the flux in the bowels. Some broke a bone in wrestling and were simply sent away, exiled in shame to live as perioikoi, the dwellers about. They are ghosts to you now. You do not mourn them. In the logic of the Agoge, their removal made the pack stronger. But today, the game changes. Today, you stop playing with wooden sticks. You stand in the dust of the palestra. The heat is shimmering off the ground. Krios, the iron who tormented you that first morning, is gone, graduated to the army. A new instructor stands before you. He is an older man, a Spartan citizen soldier named Brasidas. He has a beard like iron wire and scars that map the history of Greek warfare across his arms. At his feet lie the tools of your trade, the aspis, the shield, the dory, the spear. Pick it up, Brasidas commands. You step forward. You slide your left arm through the bronze armband, the paw-packs, and grip the leather handle near the rim. The weight shocks you. It is nearly 15 pounds of wood covered in bronze. It pulls your shoulder down. It feels awkward, heavy, impossible. This, Brasidas says, kicking the shield you are holding, is not for you. He walks down the line. Your helmet, he points to his head, is for you. Your breastplate is for you. Your greaves are for you. But your shield. He stops and looks you dead in the eye. Your shield belongs to the man standing next to you. He grabs you and shoves you into Xander. Lock shields. You struggle. The rims of the shields clash, bronze against bronze, a sound that rings in your teeth. You overlap your shield with Xander's. The man on your other side, Lycos. Yes, he survived too, and he is bigger and meaner than ever, slams his shield over the edge of yours. Suddenly, you are not an individual. You are a single scale on a giant bronze dragon. The phalanx, Brasidas roars, is a machine. It does not have feelings. It does not have fear. It only has forward momentum. For the next 6 months, this is your life. You do not run alone anymore. You move as one block. You learn to march in perfect rhythm to the sound of the flute. Step, step, push. Step, step, push. Your left arm screams in agony. The muscle burns, then goes numb, then burns again. The bronze rim digs into your shoulder until you bleed, and then the blood dries, and the scab forms, and the bronze rubs the scab off again. You learn to hold the shield even when you think your arm is falling off. Because you know the rule, if you drop your shield in battle, the man to your left dies. And if the man to your left dies, the wall breaks. And if the wall breaks, Sparta falls. To lose your helmet is a mistake. To lose your shield is a crime punishable by death. But the physical weight of the shield is nothing compared to what comes next. The Agoge has one final test before you can be considered a youth rather than a boy. The festival of Artemis Orthia. It is a hot, dry day in late summer. You are marched out of the barracks, not to the river, but to the temple of Artemis. It is an ancient, sacred place. The air smells of incense and old blood. Crowds are gathered, not just the Irons, but the citizens of Sparta, the mothers, the fathers. Your mother might be there, somewhere in that sea of faces, but you are forbidden to look for her. In the center of the temple courtyard stands the altar. Piled high upon it are wheels of cheese, fresh, white, delicious cheese. It smells of salt and cream. After years of black broth and starvation, the smell drives you mad. But standing around the altar are the whip bearers. Huge men, chosen for their strength, holding long whips made of ox hide. The priestess of Artemis steps forward. She holds a small wooden statue of the goddess. She looks at the boys, your pack. The goddess is hungry, she says, not for cheese, but for blood. The objective is simple. Run to the altar, steal as much cheese as you can, run back. But to get the cheese, you must pass through the whips. Go! The roar of the crowd is deafening. It is not a cheer of encouragement. It is a bloodlust. You run. The boy next to you, a fast runner named Dion, reaches the altar first. Crack! The whip catches him across the face. The skin splits instantly. Blood sprays onto the white cheese. He screams and falls. You don't stop. You dive. You slide under the lash of a whip, feeling the wind of it pass inches from your ear. You grab a wheel of cheese. Crack. It hits you. It feels like a hot iron rod has been laid across your back. The pain is blinding. It knocks the breath out of you. You stumble. Get up! A voice screams from the crowd. It is a woman's voice. Don't shame me. Get up! You scramble to your feet. The whip-bearer is waiting for you. He raises his arm again. You don't try to dodge this time. You accept it. You brace yourself. Crack. The second blow crosses the first, carving an X into your flesh. The pain is so intense that the world goes white for a second. But in that white space, you find something. You find the wolf, the part of you that doesn't care. You laugh. You actually laugh. It is a wet, guttural sound. You grab another piece of cheese. You look at the whip-bearer. You are covered in blood, your own and Dion's. You turn and run back to the line. You did it. But it's not over. The ritual goes on for hours, wave after wave. Boys are beaten until they cannot stand. The marble floor of the temple becomes slick with red. The smell of copper is overwhelming. At one point, you look at the priestess. She is raising the statue of the goddess. The legend says that if the whipping is too light, the statue becomes heavy in her hands. If the blood flows freely, the statue becomes light. She is smiling. The statue is light today. By the time the sun sets, you are a wreck. Your back is a ruin of shredded skin. You have lost more blood than you thought you had. You are dizzy, but you are standing. You look at Xander. He is leaning against a pillar, his tunic soaked through with red. He is holding a piece of cheese in his shaking hand. He offers you a bite. You take it. You eat the cheese mixed with the dust of the temple and the blood on your fingers. It is the best meal of your life. The mothers come down from the stands. They do not coddle you. They do not put salve on your wounds or kiss your forehead. A woman walks up to the boy next to you, Lycos. She looks at his torn back. She touches the open wound with a rough finger. Good, she says. These scars are your armor. Wear them well. You realize then that the whipping wasn't about the cheese. It wasn't even about the pain. It was a baptism. The boy who could feel pity, the boy who feared pain, has been lashed out of existence. You walk back to the barracks that night. You do not walk like a child anymore. You limp, yes. You bleed, yes. But you walk with the swagger of a survivor. You lie on your reeds. The pain in your back makes it impossible to sleep on your back, so you lie on your stomach. The room smells of iron and sweat. You close your eyes. You see the flash of the whip. You hear the crack, and you smile, because you know that tomorrow, when you pick up that shield, you will be stronger. You are part of the phalanx now. You are part of the wall, and the wall does not break. You are 15 years old. The boy who cried for his mother at the gate is a distant memory, a ghost you barely recognize. The boy who was whipped at the altar of Artemis is gone too. What stands in the moonlight now is something else entirely. You are tall, your muscles coiled like steel cables under skin that has been toughened by 5 winters without a cloak. You move with a silence that is unnatural. You do not walk, you stalk. It is midnight. You are standing in the shadow of a cypress tree, miles away from the barracks. You are naked, save for a loincloth. You have no shield. You have no spear. You have no armor. In your hand, you hold a siele, a curved iron sickle knife. It is not a weapon of war. It is a tool for slaughter. You have been chosen. Only the best of the Agoge, the ones who showed the most cunning, the most ruthlessness, are selected for this. The Crypteia, the Secret Service, the Ephors, the 5 magistrates who rule Sparta, summoned you 3 nights ago. They did not praise you. They simply looked at you and gave you a mission. The Helots are rising, they said, not with swords, but with hope. Find the weeds, pull them out. You are in the Messenian Valley now, the land of the slaves. Below you lies a village of Helots, the enslaved Greeks who farm the land so you can train for war. There are thousands of them. They outnumber you and your Spartan brothers 10 to 1. This is Sparta's greatest fear. If the Helots wake up, Sparta dies. Your mission is not to fight a battle, it is to spread terror, to remind the sheep why they fear the wolf. You watch the village. You have been watching for 2 days. You are hungry, but you do not eat. You are thirsty, but you do not drink. You are focused. You are looking for him. You saw him yesterday working in the olive groves. He is young, perhaps 20, a helot, but he does not walk like a slave. He is tall. His shoulders are broad from pulling the plough. When the Spartan overseer shouted at him, he did not cower. He looked the overseer in the eye. That look is his death sentence. In Sparta, a strong slave is not an asset. A strong slave is a threat. If he is strong, others will follow him. If others follow him, there is rebellion. You grip the handle of your knife. The iron is cold against your palm. The village is quiet. The dogs are asleep or dead, killed by your hand an hour ago to ensure silence. You slip out of the tree line. You move through the tall grass, your body low to the ground. You are not a hoplite in a phalanx now. You are a ghost. You reach his hut. It is a mud brick shack with a thatched roof. The door is a simple curtain of goat hide. You listen. You can hear the heavy breathing of sleep inside. A man, a woman, maybe a child. You push the curtain aside. The smell of the hut is thick, sweat, earth, and poverty. You step inside. Your eyes, adjusted to the darkness, find him. He is sleeping on a mat of straw. His chest rises and falls rhythmically. He looks peaceful. He looks human. For a fraction of a second, a thought flashes through your mind. He has no weapon. He is asleep. This is not honorable. But then you hear the voice of the warden in your head. Honor is for equals. These are not men. They are livestock. You creep closer. You stand over him. You can see the pulse beating in his neck. Thump, thump. You raise the knife. He stirs. Maybe he senses you. Maybe a floorboard creaked. His eyes fly open. For 1 second, you look at each other. You, the 15-year-old Spartan monster. He, the slave who dared to be strong. You see the terror flood his eyes. He opens his mouth to scream. You move. Your hand clamps over his mouth, stifling the scream into a gurgle. With your other hand, you drive the sickle knife down. It is not like the training dummies. The resistance of skin, the grating of bone, the hot spray of blood. It is wet. It is messy. He thrashes, his strong arms grabbing at your wrists. He fights for his life. But you are trained. You shift your weight, pinning him down with your knee. You twist the blade. The thrashing stops. The hands fall away. The light in his eyes fades, turning from terror to nothingness. Silence returns to the hut. You stand up, breathing hard. You are covered in his blood. It is warm and sticky on your chest. You look at the woman sleeping in the corner. She hasn't moved. She will wake up in the morning to find her husband dead beside her. She will scream. The village will know. And that is the point. They will know that the Spartans are watching. They will know that strength is punished with death. They will be afraid. And because they are afraid, they will obey. You wipe your blade on the dead man's tunic. You step out of the hut into the cool night air. You look up at the moon. You feel strange. You expected to feel guilt. You expected to feel sick, like you did when you beat Xander at age 7. But you feel nothing. No guilt, no glory. Just a cold, hard satisfaction. You had a job. You did it. The threat is removed. Sparta is safe for another day. You disappear back into the darkness. You will spend the next year living in these mountains, sleeping in caves, eating raw meat, hunting the strongest slaves. You are the invisible hand of the state. This year will change you more than the whipping at the altar. The whipping taught you to endure pain. The cryptire teaches you to inflict it without remorse. It strips away the last remnants of your humanity and leaves only the predator. You are no longer just a soldier who fights for his city. You are the terror that keeps the city alive. You run back toward the mountains, the blood drying on your skin like a second layer of armor. You are 15, and you are a murderer. But in Sparta, murder is just another word for duty. You are 20 years old. The long hair of your childhood is gone, replaced by the groomed, shoulder-length locks of a Spartan man. You have facial hair now, a thick beard that covers your jaw, groomed and oiled. You are no longer the starving scavenger, nor the mountain assassin. You are a masterpiece of violence, carved from the raw stone of the boy who entered the gates 13 years ago. But you are not safe yet. You stand outside a modest building in the center of Sparta. Inside, 15 men are eating dinner. They are laughing, drinking wine, and eating the black broth. These are the homoioi, the equals, the full citizens of Sparta. Tonight is your election. This is the cruelest joke of the Spartan system. You can survive the cold, the hunger, the whipping, and the killing. But if these 15 men do not like you, if they do not want to break bread with you every night for the rest of their lives, you are cast out. You become an outcast, lower than a slave. 13 years of hell for nothing. The door opens. A servant beckons you in. You step into the candlelight. The room smells of roasted pork, strong wine, and sweat. The laughter dies instantly. 15 pairs of eyes turn to you. Some are old veterans with scars across their faces. Some are young men only a few years older than you. You stand at attention. You do not speak. You do not beg. You let them look at you. You let them see the scars on your back from the altar of Artemis. You let them see the calluses on your feet. You let them see the killer in your eyes. The voting begins. It is done in silence. A servant walks around the table carrying a wide bowl on his head. Each man takes a small piece of soft bread. If they want you, they drop the bread into the bowl as it is, soft and round. If they reject you, they squeeze the bread tightly in their fist, flattening it into a disc. Just one flattened piece of bread, one veto, is enough to destroy your life. You watch the servant move. You watch the hands of the men. You cannot see what they are doing with the bread. The tension is suffocating. This is more terrifying than the night you slept in the snow. Because against the cold, you could fight. Against the opinion of men, you are powerless. The servant reaches the end of the table. He takes the bowl down. He looks inside. The room is silent. You stop breathing. The servant looks at the table leader, the eldest man. He nods. Pure, the servant says. No flattened bread, not one. The room explodes into cheers. The men stand up. They are not looking at you with judgment anymore. They are looking at you with brotherhood. The leader walks over to you. He hands you a cup of wine. Drink, he says. Welcome to the table, brother. You drink. The wine is sweet and strong. It tastes like victory. You are no longer just a survivor. You are an homoios, an equal. You have a family now, a family of killers who will die for you and for whom you will die. The next morning, the transformation is completed. You go to the armory. It is time to dress the part. First, the tunic, not the grey, scratchy rag of your childhood. You are given the phoenikis, the crimson cloak. It is dyed the color of blood so that when you bleed in battle, the enemy will not see your weakness. It is heavy, warm, and magnificent. Next, the greaves. Bronze shin guards that snap onto your legs, protecting the shins that were once battered by rocks. Then, the breastplate. A solid piece of bronze, sculpted to look like a muscular torso. It weighs heavily on your shoulders, a constant reminder of the state's burden you now carry. Then, the helmet. The Corinthian helmet. You pull it over your head. The world changes instantly. Your vision is restricted to thin slits. Your hearing is muffled, replaced by the sound of your own breathing echoing inside the metal. It is claustrophobic. It is isolating. Inside the helmet, you are alone with your thoughts. But when you look in the polished bronze mirror, you do not see a man. You see a statue. You see a monster of bronze and horsehair. You have no face. You have no expression. You are faceless. You are fearless. Finally, the shield, the aspis. You slide your arm through the armband. It is the same weight that almost broke your arm at age 12. But now it feels light. Your arm is thick with muscle. The shield feels like an extension of your body, a part of your own skin. You walk out into the sunlight. Thousands of other men are gathering. The ground shakes with the rhythm of their feet. The sun glints off thousands of bronze helmets, creating a blinding river of gold. You find your place in the line. You lock your shield with the man on your right. You look to your right. It is Xander. He survived too. He is wearing the helmet. You cannot see his face, but you know his eyes. You look to your left. It is Lycos. the boy who stole your soup. Now his shield covers your left side. His life depends on you. Your life depends on him. The hatred of childhood is gone, replaced by the iron bond of the phalanx. The flute players begin their melody, a high, piercing tune that sends shivers down your spine. "Forward," the king commands. The phalanx moves. Step, step, crash. You are 20 years old. You are a Spartan hoplite. The training is over. The simulation is over. Now the war begins. The world has shrunk. For the last 20 years, your world was the valley, the river, and the mountain. Now your world is the 2 inches of sunlight visible through the T-shaped slit of your bronze helmet. You are marching. You have been marching for hours. The sun beats down on the bronze casing of your head, turning the air inside into a stifling sauna. Sweat runs down your forehead, stinging your eyes, but you cannot wipe it away. Your hands are occupied. Your left hand grips the rim of the aspis, the great shield. Your right hand grips the dory, the 8-foot ash spear with a leaf-shaped iron tip. You are not walking as a man walks. You are moving as a segment of a caterpillar. The sound of the aulos, the double flute, pierces the air. High, shrill, rhythmic. It is the heartbeat of the army. Every step you take hits the earth in perfect unison with 10,000 other feet. Thud, thud, thud. The dust rises. It coats your throat, dry and chalky. It turns the golden shine of the army into a ghostly grey. You cannot see the enemy yet, but you can feel them. The ground vibrates with the approach of another mass of iron and men. You look to your right. Xander is there. You cannot see his face, only the bronze nose guard and the dark eyes staring forward from the shadow of the metal. You nudge his shield with yours, a silent communication. I am here. You are here. We are the wall. The flute tempo changes. It speeds up. The formation tightens. You step closer to the man in front of you until your chest presses against his back. The man behind you presses his shield into your spine. You are locked in. There is no escape. If you wanted to run, you couldn't. You are welded into the machine. Then you see them. Through the dust, a line of bronze emerges. The enemy. They look exactly like you. Another city, another phalanx, another wall of fathers and sons coming to kill and be killed. They are shouting. They are screaming insults, banging their spears against their shields, trying to break your nerve with noise. But your line is silent. This is the Spartan terror. You do not scream. You do not beat your chest. You simply walk. The silence of 10,000 men marching in step is louder than any war cry. It is the silence of the executioner. The gap closes. 200 yards. 100 yards. You lower your spear. The iron tip levels out. All along the line, thousands of spears drop like the quills of a porcupine. 50 yards. Your heart is not beating, it is vibrating against your ribs. The adrenaline floods your system, making time slow down. You see the individual scratches on the enemy shields. You see the painted eyes of gorgons and lions staring back at you. 20 yards. The flute stops. The world holds its breath. Crash. The sound is not like anything you have ever heard. It is the sound of the earth cracking open. Metal slams into metal. Wood shatters. Bone snaps. The impact throws you backward, but the man behind you shoves you forward. You are crushed between 2 opposing forces of nature. The air leaves your lungs. You are pinned. You cannot swing your spear. You cannot maneuver. This is not a duel. This is the othismos, the shove. You are blind. The dust and the proximity of the bodies block the sun. You are fighting in a twilight of bronze and flesh. The smell hits you instantly, the copper tang of fresh blood, the sour reek of fear sweat, and the bowels of men dying. A spear tip flashes through the gap in the shields. It scrapes against your breastplate, screeching like a demon. You jab your own spear forward over the rim of your shield, aiming blindly at the wall of faces opposite you. You feel the tip sink into something soft. You pull back. A spray of hot red liquid spatters across the eye slits of your helmet. You are half blind now. You blink, trying to clear your vision. The pressure is immense. The men in the back rows are pushing, driving the formation forward. You are fighting just to keep your feet. If you fall, you die. If you fall, you will be trampled by your own brothers before the enemy even touches you. A scream erupts to your left. You glance sideways. Lycos has been hit. A spear has found the gap between his helmet and his breastplate, piercing his throat. He gurgles, a wet, bubbling sound. He sags, his shield dropping. The wall is broken. If the gap stays open, the enemy will pour in. They will flank you. They will butcher you. You do not mourn. You do not panic. The drill takes over. The muscle memory carved into you by 13 years of beatings acts before your brain can process the horror. You step left. You slide your foot over Lycos's twitching legs. You slam your shield into the gap, closing the hole. You lock shields with the man who was to Lycos's left. The wall is whole again. You are stepping on him. You feel his armor crunch under your weight. You feel his body go still under your sandals. You do not look down. You look forward. The enemy soldier who killed him is right there. He is trying to pull his spear back, but it is stuck in the dead meat. He is vulnerable. You thrust. Your spear goes under the rim of his shield, upward into the groin. It is a mechanic's move. Efficient. Brutal. He screams and doubles over. You thrust again, this time downward into the exposed neck. He falls. The man behind him steps up over the body. The grinder continues. It is endless. Stab, push, breathe. Stab, push, breathe. Your arm feels like it is on fire. The shield weighs 1,000 pounds. The heat inside the helmet is unbearable. You are gasping for air that tastes of dust and death. You slip on blood. The ground has turned into a red mud. You catch your balance just in time to deflect a blow that would have taken your head off. You are not a human being anymore. You are a piston in an engine of war. You do not think of glory. You do not think of Sparta. You think only of the 2 inches of space in front of your nose. You think only of keeping the shield up. Time loses meaning. It could be minutes. It could be hours. Suddenly, the pressure releases. The enemy line buckles. The shove has worked. Their formation shatters. Men turn their backs. Men drop their shields to run faster. And then the slaughter begins. A phalanx is a wall when it faces forward. But when it turns its back, it is just meat. You step forward. You stab the fleeing men in the back. It is not honorable. It is necessary. You kill them as they run. You kill them as they crawl. You kill until your arm is too heavy to lift the spear. The trumpet sounds. The recall. You stop. You are standing in a field of broken bodies. The silence returns, heavier than before, broken only by the groans of the dying and the cawing of crows descending from the hills. You drop your shield. It lands in the bloody mud with a wet thud. You reach up and pull the helmet from your head. The cool air hits your face. It feels like a blessing from the gods. You take a deep breath, filling your lungs with oxygen. You look down at your hands. They are stained red up to the elbows. You look at your chest. The crimson cloak is darker now, soaked with blood that is not yours. You look to your right. Xander is there. He has taken off his helmet too. His face is pale, streaked with sweat and soot. He looks at you. He looks at the body of Lycos lying in the mud behind you. He doesn't say a word. He just nods. You nod back. You are alive. You wipe the blood from your eyes. You pick up your shield. You pick up your spear. You form the line again. The battle is over. But the war is never over. You are 20 years old. And today you became a veteran. 10 years. 10 years of small wars. 10 years of border skirmishes. 10 years of polishing your shield until it shines like a mirror. You are 30 years old now. The scars on your back have faded into white, jagged lines. The calluses on your feet are thick as leather soles. You are an homoios, a peer, an equal, a master of war. But more importantly, you are a father. You stand in the courtyard of your own home. A small boy, barely 3 years old, is gripping your finger. His grip is strong. He looks up at you with eyes that mirror your own. You look at him and you see the future. You see the Agoge waiting for him. You see the cane. You see the cold nights. It breaks your heart, but you smile because you know it is the only way he will survive. But the peace is over. The wind from the east brings a smell that Sparta has never known. It is the smell of exotic spices, strange perfumes, and the sweat of 1 million slaves. Rumors have been trickling in for months. A god king is coming. Xerxes. They say his army drinks rivers dry. They say his arrows block out the sun. They say he does not want land. He wants earth and water. He wants submission. The ephors, the old corrupt priests, have forbidden war. It is the Carnea, they whisper, their eyes white with cataracts and fear. The moon is sacred. We cannot march during the festival. The gods will be angry. But there is one man who does not fear the gods. He only fears slavery. Leonidas. The king calls for an assembly, not of the whole army. The army cannot march because of the religious ban. He calls for a personal bodyguard, a loophole in the law. You stand in the vast square. Thousands of Spartans are gathered. The king walks among you. He is a lion of a man. He is in his 50s, his beard grey and thick, his face a landscape of war. He does not wear the crown. He wears the helmet of a simple soldier. He walks down the lines of the best warriors in the world. He is looking for something specific. He stops in front of a man, Ariston, the strongest wrestler in the city. Ariston, Leonidas says, you are strong, but you have no wife. Step back. He moves to another. Daxos, you are fast, but your wife has not yet given you a child. Step back. A murmur goes through the ranks. The king is not choosing the strongest. He is not choosing the fastest. He is choosing the fathers. He stops in front of you. He looks you in the eye. The gaze of a king is heavy. It weighs your soul. Your name? He asks. His voice is like grinding stones. You state your name. You fought at the border, he says. He remembers. You held the line when Lycos fell. I did, my king. Leonidas looks down at your hands, then back to your eyes. Do you have a son? The question hangs in the air. You know what it means. If you say no, you stay. You live. You watch your son grow up. You grow old in the warm sun of the valley. But you are Spartan. You do not lie. I do, my king, you say. He is 3 years old. Is he strong? He is a wolf, you answer. Leonidas nods. A shadow of sadness passes over his eyes, just for a second, before the iron curtain of the king falls back into place. Then your line is secure, he says softly. Pack your shield. We march at dawn. He moves on. You stand there, frozen. You have just been selected for the greatest honor a Spartan can receive, and you have just been sentenced to death. You know why he chose only fathers, because he does not plan on coming back. He wants men whose blood will continue after the slaughter. You walk home. The walk feels different than any before. The streets of Sparta look sharper, more beautiful. You notice the way the light hits the olive trees. You notice the sound of the birds. It is the clarity of a man who knows his time is up. You enter your house. Your wife is there. She is the daughter of a warrior. She does not need to ask. She sees the look in your eyes. She sees the way you carry your body, lighter yet heavier. She does not cry. She does not tear her clothes. That is for Athenian women. She stands tall. Leonidas? She asks. Yes, you say. How many? 300. She nods slowly. She understands the math. 300 against millions. She knows she is looking at a dead man. She goes to the wall and takes down your shield, the great bronze disc that has protected you for 10 years. She polishes a smudge from the rim with the hem of her dress. She brings it to you. She hands it to you. The weight is familiar. It is your oldest friend. She looks into your eyes. There are no tears, but her hands are trembling slightly. I will raise him, she says. He will know your name. He will know where you stood. You want to kiss her. You want to hold her and tell her you are scared. But you can't. You are the wall. She steps back. She gives you the only advice a Spartan woman ever gives her husband before war. The words that have echoed through generations. Come back, she says, her voice steady as steel. With this, she taps the bronze rim of the shield. Or on it. You nod. You take the shield. You turn to the door. Your son is playing in the dirt near the entrance. He looks up. He sees his father in the crimson cloak, the bronze armor gleaming in the twilight. He smiles and waves a small, chubby hand. You stop. You etch this image into your mind. This is the last thing you will see when the darkness comes. You do not wave back. You do not say goodbye. You simply raise your spear in a salute to the future warrior. Then you turn and walk away. You head toward the assembly point. You join the other 299. The mood is not somber. It is electric. There is joking. There is laughter. It is a gathering of wolves who know they are going to the greatest hunt in history. Leonidas stands at the front. He looks at his small army. Spartans, he roars, eat well tonight, for tomorrow we dine in hell. You clash your spear against your shield. Boom. The sound echoes off the mountains. You are 30 years old. You are a father. You are a husband. And you are walking toward the hot gates, toward Thermopylae. You are walking toward immortality. The march north is a blur of dust and heat. You move not as a man, but as a component of a beast made of bronze and red wool. You leave the familiar olive groves of Sparta behind, crossing the isthmus, marching through lands that look at you with mixture of awe and pity. Other Greeks join you along the way, Thespians, Thebans, Phocians. They are good men, brave men, but they are not Spartans. They look at the small number of your company, 300, and they whisper. They do not understand that numbers mean nothing in a doorway, and you are heading to the narrowest doorway in the world. You arrive at Thermopylae, the hot gates. The name is literal. The air smells of sulfur and rotten eggs, steam rising from the bubbling hot springs that trickle down the cliffside. To your left is a vertical wall of rock, unclimbable and unforgiving. To your right is the sea, crashing against the jagged rocks. Between them is a narrow strip of road, barely wide enough for 2 wagons to pass. This is the choke point. This is where the math of war changes. Here, 1,000,000 men are useless because they can only come at you a few at a time. Leonidas walks the line, nodding. He knows terrain is the only ally you have. You set up camp behind the ancient crumbling Phocian wall. You wait. Then they come. It starts as a vibration in the soles of your feet, a low hum that you feel before you hear. You climb the wall to look. The horizon has vanished. The sea is gone, covered entirely by a carpet of ships. The land to the north is moving. It is a river of humanity, Persians, Medes, immortals, conscripts from 100 conquered nations. They wear gold, they wear silk, they wear turbans. It is not an army, it is a migration of the world. You look at the sheer scale of it. If every Spartan speared 100 men, there would still be more. For the first time, the reality of your wife's farewell hits you. This is not a battle, this is a suicide pact. But you do not panic. You do what Spartans do before death. You sit down, you take off your helmet, you take out a comb and a jar of oil. You begin to groom your long hair, braiding it carefully. You oil your skin, you polish your shield until you can see the fear of the gods in it. A Persian scout rides up on a horse, watching you from a safe distance. He looks confused. He expects to see men building fortifications or praying. Instead, he sees men acting like they are preparing for a wedding. He rides back to tell his king that the Spartans are mad. He does not know that this is the funeral ritual. You are beautifying the corpse. You are making sure you look magnificent when you meet Hades. An emissary arrives from the Persian camp. He rides a horse draped in purple. He looks at Leonidas with a sneer. "The great King Xerxes is generous," he shouts. "Give up your arms, kneel, and he will let you live. He will make you satraps of Greece." Leonidas doesn't even look up from sharpening his sword. He speaks 2 words, low and calm, but they carry across the pass like a thunderclap. "Molon labe." Come and take them. The emissary's face turns red. "You are mad," he screams. "Our arrows will be so numerous they will block out the sun." You look up at the bright, burning sun. The heat is oppressive in your armor. You look at your brother, Dinekes, standing next to you. He grins, a wolfish, jagged smile. "Good," Dinekes says, loud enough for the emissary to hear. "Then we will fight in the shade." Laughter erupts from the Spartan line. It is not the nervous laughter of scared men. It is the dark, mocking laughter of men who have already accepted their fate. The emissary rides away in fury. You put your helmet back on. You pick up your shield. You step into the line. The waiting is over. The shadow is coming. The sky turns black. It is not a figure of speech. The cloud of arrows is so dense it actually lowers the temperature in the pass. You kneel behind your shield, tucking your head down, curling into a ball of bronze and muscle. The sound is like hail on a tin roof, a million metallic tinks and thuds as iron arrowheads rain down on your shield, your helmet, your greaves. Some find the gaps. You hear a grunt to your left, a curse to your right, but the line holds. These arrows are made for penetrating wicker and cloth, not Spartan bronze. When the rain stops, your shield looks like a porcupine, bristling with shafts. You stand up, snap the arrows off against the rim of your shield, and look forward. The infantry is coming. They are the Medes and Scythians. They rush at you like a tidal wave, screaming, wild, chaotic. They are brave men, but they are not soldiers. They wear cloth trousers and soft caps. They carry short spears and shields made of wicker. They are running into a meat grinder. You lock your shield with Xander's. You brace your shoulder. The collision is sickening. It doesn't sound like metal on metal. It sounds like a hammer hitting wet clay. They crash against your shield wall and simply stop. They have no weight to push you back. They are pressed against your bronze faces, clawing, stabbing uselessly with their short daggers. This is not a battle. It is an extermination. You do not need to aim. The mass of bodies is so thick you just thrust your spear forward over the rim of your shield. You feel the iron tip sink into a chest, a throat, a face. You pull it back with a wet sucking sound and thrust again. Stab, retract, step. It is mechanical. It is boring. It is butcher's work. The man in front of you falls, his face smashed by the boss of your shield. The man behind him steps on his corpse and dies 2 seconds later. The bodies begin to pile up. Within an hour, there is a rampart of dead Persians knee-high in front of you. You are fighting on top of a carpet of flesh. The smell of opened bowels and copper blood is suffocating in the heat of the pass. Then Leonidas gives the signal, a sharp, piercing whistle. The trick. You and the entire line suddenly turn your backs. You feign panic. You run away, retreating up the pass. A roar goes up from the Persian ranks. They think you are broken. They think the Spartans are cowards. They break their formation, dropping their shields, sprinting after you in a disorganized mob, eager to cut you down from behind. You count the steps. 1, 2, 3. The whistle blows again. You spin. The entire phalanx pivots on a dime, dropping the spears back into position. The Persians confront a wall of bronze that has suddenly materialized out of the dust. Their faces turn from triumph to horror in a split second. They cannot stop their momentum. They run right onto your spears. The slaughter is absolute. You crush them, you walk over them, you push them into the sea where they drown in their heavy robes. You push them into the cliffs where they are crushed by the weight of their own comrades. By the time the sun begins to set, your arm is numb from the killing. Your shield is heavy with the weight of embedded iron and soaked wood. The Persians pull back. The silence returns to the pass, broken only by the crying of the seagulls and the moans of thousands of dying men in the no-man's land. You drop to the ground, exhausted. You take off your helmet and drink water that tastes of ash. You look at Xander. He is covered in gore from head to toe, looking like a demon birthed from blood. He smiles, his teeth white against the red mask of his face. "They are soft," he says, and he is right. But then you look up at the Persian camp. The first wave was just the testing of the water. You see a new movement in their lines, men in silver armor, men who move in perfect silence. The immortals, the king's own guard, 10,000 of them. They are walking toward the pass as the twilight fades. The easy work is done. The real war is about to begin. The sun has vanished behind the cliffs, plunging the pass of Thermopylae into a bruised, purple twilight. But the war does not sleep. The air is thick, choking you with the copper scent of thousands of gallons of spilled blood and the bowels of the dead. You are kneeling behind the wall of Phocian stones, trying to scrape the gore off your greaves with a handful of dry dirt. Your arm shakes uncontrollably, a tremor born of muscle failure, not fear. You have stabbed and pushed and killed for 6 hours straight. Your body is empty, but there is no rest. A sound rises from the Persian camp. It is not the chaotic screaming of the Medes or the Scythians. It is a rhythmic, synchronized thudding. Thump, thump, thump. You stand up, your joints popping, and look over the wall. They are coming. The 10,000. The immortals. They are the nightmares of the East. They do not look like men. They wear silver scale armor under their robes that glints in the torchlight like the skin of a snake. Their faces are covered by cloth masks or iron veils, leaving only their dark, soulless eyes visible. They do not scream. They do not bang their shields. They move in absolute terrifying silence. They are the personal monsters of the god King Xerxes, and they have never been defeated. "Helmets on!" Leonidas roars. His voice is hoarse, shredded by shouting orders, but it still carries the weight of iron. You pull the Corinthian helmet back over your head. The world narrows again to those 2 inches of vision. The sweat inside smells stale and sour. You lock your shield with Xander. He is breathing hard, a wheezing sound rattling in his chest. "Here they come," he whispers. They don't run like the Medes. They flow. They advance with the discipline of a machine. They carry short spears with silver pomegranates on the ends and wicker shields that are stronger than they look. Crash. The impact is different this time. It is heavier, harder. The immortals don't bounce off your shield wall. They lean into it. They are strong men, well-fed, well-trained. They know how to find the gaps. For the first time, you are not just killing, you are fighting. An immortal slips a dagger under the rim of your shield, aiming for your groin. You slam the rim down, crushing his wrist against his own armor. He doesn't scream. He just drops the dagger and claws at your eyes with his free hand. You thrust your spear into his throat. He falls, but another steps instantly into his place. That is why they are called immortals, because when one dies, another replaces him so quickly it seems like they cannot be killed. The battle descends into a brawl. The spears break. The wood shatters under the stress of the shove. You draw your Siphos, the short, leaf-shaped iron sword. This is the butcher's work now. Close quarters. You are pressing chest to chest with faceless men in silver armor. You stab into necks, into armpits, into eyes. You take a hit. A spear tip glides off your breastplate and slices across your upper arm. It burns like a wasp sting, but you don't look. You headbutt the man in front of you, the bronze nose of your helmet crushing his masked face. He goes down. You step on him. The ground is slippery. It is a slurry of mud and blood. You are fighting on a carpet of corpses. The pile of dead is waist-high now. You have to climb over the bodies of the Medes to kill the immortals. It is a landscape of hell. Hours pass. The moon rises, indifferent to the slaughter. The immortals are better than the Medes, but they have a fatal flaw. Their weapons are shorter than yours, and their wicker shields cannot stop the heavy iron of a Spartan sword. You hack them apart. The elite guard of Asia is being fed into the woodchipper of Sparta. Eventually, they break. Even the immortals cannot stand against the wall. They pull back, leaving thousands of their silver-armored brothers dead in the mud. You drop to your knees. You don't even have the strength to cheer. You take off your helmet and vomit dry bile onto the ground. Your body has nothing left to give. The second day passes much like the first. Xerxes throws more men at you, more meat for the grinder. You kill them all. The pass is blocked not by stone, but by a wall of Persian dead. The King of Kings is watching from his golden throne on the hill, tearing his robes in fury. He cannot understand. He has millions of men. You have 300. Why are you not dead? But while you are cleaning your sword on the evening of the second day, the true blow falls. It does not come from a spear. It comes from a whisper. A local man, a Greek, a traitor named Ephialtes. He is a grotesque creature, driven by greed and a deformity of spirit that is uglier than any physical scar. He goes to Xerxes. He wants gold, and in exchange for gold, he sells the keys to Greece. He tells the great king about the Thermopylae path, the goat track, the secret trail that winds through the mountains and comes out behind the hot gates. You are sleeping a dead man's sleep when the scout runs into the camp. It is just before dawn. The sky is the color of a fresh bruise. They know, the scout gasps, collapsing before Leonidas. They are on the mountain. The Phocians have retreated. They are flanking us. The news hits the camp like a physical blow. The silence that follows is heavier than the silence of the immortals. It is over. The math has changed. You are no longer holding a doorway. You are standing in a trap. By noon, they will be behind you. You will be surrounded. Leonidas calls a council. The other Greeks, the Thespians, the Thebans, are looking at him with wide, terrified eyes. They have families. They have lives to go back to. Leonidas looks at them. He does not judge them. He is a king, and a king knows when to spend lives and when to save them. Go, Leonidas says. Return to your cities. Prepare your walls. This battle is lost. The allies hesitate. Then they begin to pack. They leave, heads bowed, shame and relief warring in their hearts. They walk away from the gates of fire. But you do not move. Xander does not move. The 300 do not move. You stand there, polishing your shield. You look at Leonidas. He is looking at the path leading home. He could go. He could declare a tactical retreat. He could live to fight another day. But the oracle had spoken. Either Sparta falls, or it mourns a king. Leonidas turns to you, to the 300. Spartans, he says softly, the law does not permit retreat. You nod. You knew this moment would come. You knew it when you kissed your wife goodbye. You knew it when you looked at your son. The retreat is for other men. For you, there is only the shield and the ground beneath it. The sun begins to rise on the third day, the last day. You eat your breakfast, a handful of hard grain and a cup of wine. You eat slowly. You savor the texture of the grain against your tongue. You savor the burn of the wine in your throat. You look at the sun hitting the cliffs, turning the rock to gold. It is a beautiful morning to die. You stand up. You check your armor. The breastplate is dented. The greaves are scratched. Your crimson cloak is shredded and brown with dried blood. You look like a ruin. You look at Xander. He is smiling. It is a genuine smile, devoid of fear. Today, he says, we are light. Light, you ask? No heavy packs to carry home, he laughs. No long march back. You laugh with him. It is a dark, beautiful madness. You form the line. But today, the line is different. You are not staying behind the wall. Leonidas points forward, out of the narrow pass, into the wider opening where the Persian army waits. "We do not wait for them today," the king says. "We go to them. We kill as many as we can before the end." You lock your shield. You lower your spear. You look at the millions of men waiting for you. You take a deep breath. You fill your lungs with the air of free Greece for the last time. The flute plays. You step forward. The flute player begins the final melody. It is not the slow, rhythmic cadence of the march. It is faster, sharper, a frantic heartbeat that pushes the blood into your ears. You step out from behind the Phocian wall, leaving the safety of the narrow neck. Today, the strategy is abandoned. Today, the tactic is simple: murder. You are not trying to survive. You are trying to take as many of them with you as possible before the inevitable end. The 300 of you move as a single, terrifying organism into the wider part of the pass where the Persian Ocean waits. They see you coming, a small knot of battered, bloody men in shredded crimson cloaks walking into the mouth of a million. They look confused. They expect surrender. Instead, they get the wolf. You break into a run. It is a sprint of pure, unadulterated rage. You crash into the Persian front line with such force that the sheer impact shatters the wood of your shield. You don't care. You discard it. You don't need defense anymore. You need speed. Your spear is a blur, a piston of ash and iron that punches through wicker shields, linen armor, and soft flesh. You are shouting, but you don't hear your own voice. You only hear the wet tearing of meat and the snapping of bone. You drive your spear into a Persian officer's chest with so much force that the shaft snaps in your hands. You don't hesitate. You spin the broken shaft around and jam the splintered wood into the eye of the man next to him. You draw your cyphus, your short sword. It is chipped and dull from 3 days of butchery, but it still bites. You are a whirlwind. You are not fighting for territory. You are fighting for the man next to you. You are fighting for the memory of your son. You are fighting to make the King of Kings bleed. And then the king falls. You see it happen in slow motion. Leonidas, the lion of Sparta, is fighting 3 immortals at once. He moves like a man half his age, parrying, slashing, a master of the dance of death. But there are too many. A spear takes him in the thigh, another in the shoulder. He drops to one knee, still swinging, cutting the legs out from under an attacker. Then a volley of arrows strikes him. He falls. The king is down. A roar of triumph goes up from the Persian ranks. They rush forward, desperate to claim the trophy, to take the head of the Spartan king to Xerxes. But they have forgotten who you are. A roar of pure, primal fury erupts from the 300. "For the king!" You abandon the line. You abandon formation. You rush to his body. This is the othismos of the soul. You collide with the Persians over the fallen body of Leonidas. It is a brawl of savage intensity. You push them back with your shoulders, your helmets, your fists. You hack at their arms as they reach for him. You grab a Persian by the throat and rip his windpipe out with your hand. You are possessed. 4 times they surge forward to take the body, and 4 times you drive them back. The ground around Leonidas becomes a hill of Persian dead. You grab the king's shoulder and pull him back, dragging him behind the circle of shields. He is gone. His eyes are open, staring at the Spartan sky. There is no fear in his face, only the frozen mask of a warrior who died doing exactly what he was born to do. Your sword breaks. It snaps at the hilt, struck against a heavy iron shield. You look at the useless handle in your hand. You throw it at a Persian's face. You have no spear. You have no sword. You have no shield. You are weaponless in the middle of a war. But a Spartan is never unarmed. You pick up a heavy stone from the ground. You smash it into the face of an immortal. You use your hands. You use your teeth. You are biting the noses off men, tearing their ears, gouging their eyes with your broken fingernails. You are fighting like a wild animal, driven by a fury that transcends humanity. The Persians are terrified. They have never seen men fight like this, men who refuse to acknowledge they are dead. They back away. They are afraid to come within reach of your hands. But the end is coming. The scout runs down from the mountain. They are here. The traitor Ephialtes has led the immortals around the path. They are behind you. You are surrounded. The circle closes. You retreat, backing slowly up the small hillock, the Kolonos Hill. It is the final high ground. The remaining Spartans, perhaps 50 of you now, form a tight circle. Xander is there. He is bleeding from a dozen wounds. His helmet is gone. One of his eyes is swollen shut. He looks at you. He smiles through cracked, bloody lips. He reaches out and grips your forearm. The warrior's handshake. "See you in the shade, brother," he rasps. You nod. In the shade. The Persians stop attacking. They have learned their lesson. They do not want to come close to the Spartan wolves, even when the wolves are cornered and dying. They form a ring around the hill, keeping their distance. The archers step forward, thousands of them. They nock their arrows. The sky darkens. The sun is blotted out one last time. You do not cower. You do not cover your head. You stand tall. You look at the arrows. You want them to see your face when you die. You want them to know that you were not afraid. The sound is like a sudden violent rainstorm. Thwack, thwack, thwack. The arrows hit. You feel the first one enter your chest. It feels like a punch, hot and shocking. Then another in your thigh, then another in your neck. Your legs give way. You fall to your knees. The world starts to turn grey at the edges. The sound of the battle fades, replaced by a high ringing in your ears. You look down at your chest. The crimson cloak is finally doing its job. You cannot see the blood, but you can feel the warmth of it leaving you. You look at Xander. He is lying on his back, staring at the sky, an arrow in his heart. He looks peaceful. You fall forward. Your cheek presses against the dusty earth of Thermopylae. It smells of iron and sulfur. You try to take a breath, but your lungs are full of fluid. Your vision tunnels. In the darkness, you see an image. Not of the war, not of the glory. You see the courtyard of your home. You see the olive tree. You see your son waving his small, chubby hand. The wolf is dying. The boy is returning. You close your eyes. The darkness takes you. And then, silence. The battle is over. The King of Kings walks over the field of dead. He sees the pile of Persian bodies, thousands upon thousands of them. He sees the 300 men who cost him an empire's worth of blood. He is furious. He orders Leonidas's head cut off and put on a stake. It is a petty act, the act of a man who knows he has been defeated in spirit, even if he won the ground. He marches on to burn Athens, but he is already doomed. The sacrifice at Thermopylae has bought Greece time. It has united the cities. It has lit a fire that will consume his fleet at Salamis and his army at Plataea. Months later, the Greeks return to the hot gates. They bury the dead. They build a monument. It is a simple stone lion for Leonidas, and for the men, for you, for Xander, for Lycos, they carve an inscription into the stone. It is not a poem of great length. It is a simple message spoken from the dead to the living, echoing through history for 2,500 years. Go tell the Spartans, stranger passing by, that here, obedient to their laws, we lie. You are dust now. The wind blows your atoms across the valley, but the legend remains. The legend of the boy who was taken from his mother at 7. The legend of the wolf who stole in the night. The legend of the father who stood in the shade. You are the archetype of the ultimate soldier. You are the memory of blood and bronze. Rest now, Spartan. Your watch is ended. The darkness is absolute, but it is not empty. For a moment, there is a sensation of weightlessness, as if the heavy bronze armor that has crushed your shoulders for 20 years has suddenly evaporated. You are floating above the Kolonos hill, or perhaps you are simply sinking so deep into the earth that you have become the hill itself. The silence is broken not by the clash of swords, but by the cautious footsteps of the victors. The Persians approach the circle of the dead. They do not cheer. They do not loot immediately. They walk with the hesitation of men entering a haunted house. They look down at your body, at Xander's body, at the ring of corpses that surrounds the fallen king. They touch the broken tips of your spears with reverence. They have defeated you, yes, but you have taken something from them that they will never get back, their belief in their own invincibility. You see, even in death, you are terrifying. They look at your face, frozen in a final snarl of defiance, and they see a breed of man they cannot comprehend. To them, war is a job, a service to a king. To you, it was the only air you ever breathed. Xerxes arrives. The King of Kings steps out of his golden carriage, his feet touching the blood-soaked dust. He walks through the carnage of his own immortals to reach the center of the hill. He looks down at Leonidas. He sees the body of the man who made him bleed. A petty rage consumes him. He screams orders. He demands the head of the Spartan king be cut off and placed on a pike. He demands the bodies be crucified. It is a desecration, a violation of all the laws of gods and men. But as the knife cuts into the dead flesh of your king, it does not shame Sparta. It shames Xerxes. The Persian soldiers watch this, and they do not see a god-king in triumph. They see a frightened man trying to kill a ghost he fears will haunt him forever. And he is right. The ghost is already loose. The news travels slower than the wind, but it hits harder. A single messenger, Aristodemus, one of the 2 men sent away before the battle due to eye infection, a man who will live in shame until he redeems himself, limps back to Sparta. He brings the black news. The streets of Sparta do not erupt in wailing. There is no tearing of hair, no rending of garments. That is for the Athenians. That is for the weak. The city receives the news in a silence that is louder than a scream. The women of Sparta walk into the temples. They light fires. They offer sacrifices not for the dead, but for the vengeance that must follow. Your wife stands in the doorway of your home. She sees the messenger approaching. She knows. She sees the empty space where your shield should be. She does not ask if you are dead. She asks only one question. Did he die facing the enemy? The messenger nods. He died in the front, protecting the king. She nods. Her face is a mask of stone, carved by the same laws that shaped you. She turns to your son. The boy is 4 years old now. He holds a wooden stick, pretending it is a spear. She takes the stick from him. She kneels down. She looks him in the eye, and for the first time, she does not look at him as a child. She looks at him as the avenger. "Your father is not coming home," she says. Her voice does not tremble. "He has finished his duty. Now, yours begins." She does not let him cry. She takes him to the Agoge the very next day. The cycle does not end. The machine does not stop. You are gone, but you have simply been replaced by a younger, hungrier version of yourself. Your death was not an end. It was fuel. Winter comes to Greece. The Persians burn Athens. They desecrate the temples of the Acropolis. They think they have won. But they do not understand what you purchased with your blood at Thermopylae. You bought time. You bought unity. The story of the 300 spreads from city to city like a wildfire. The Arcadians, the Corinthians, the Athenians, they hear of how you died. They hear of the beautiful death, and they are ashamed. They are ashamed that they sat behind their walls while you stood in the shade of arrows. This shame transforms into resolve. The squabbling Greek city-states, who have hated each other for centuries, suddenly find a common hatred greater than their own rivalries. You did what no diplomat could do. You united Greece in death. 1 year later, the field of Plataea, the armies gather again. But this time, it is not 300, it is 40,000. The full might of the Spartan army has marched north. Pausanias, the nephew of Leonidas, leads them. He wears the crimson cloak. He holds the shield. And as he looks across the field at the Persian horde, the same men who killed you, he does not see an enemy. He sees prey. Your son is too young to be there, but your spirit is there. You are in the wind that blows the crests of the helmets. You are in the shine of the spear tips. You are the invisible phalanx standing right behind the living one. The battle begins. It is brutal. It is chaotic. But this time, the Spartans are not holding a pass. They are unleashed in the open field, and they are angry. They fight with a cold, butchering efficiency that terrifies the Persians. Every time a Spartan drives his spear into a Persian chest, he whispers a name. Leonidas, Xander, Lycos, you. The Persians break. They run. And this time there is no mercy. The Spartans hunt them down like dogs. They slaughter them in the mud. They slaughter them in their camp. They erase the army of Xerxes from the face of the earth. The general Mardonius is killed, his skull crushed by a stone, a mirror of how you fought on that final hill. The victory is total. The threat of the east is broken forever. And as the Spartans stand over the field of victory, covered in blood and gold, they look north toward the hot gates. They raise their bloody spears in a silent salute. The debt is paid. Years pass. The bones on the hill of Thermopylae are bleached white by the sun. The grass grows over the rusted iron of the arrowheads. The world moves on, but the memory does not fade. It hardens. It becomes something more durable than bronze. The Greeks return to the pass. They gather your bones. They do not bury you in individual graves. They bury you together in a common mound. The pack remains together, even in the underworld. You are sleeping next to Xander again. You are sleeping at the feet of Leonidas. They commission a monument. A stone lion is placed over the grave of the king, facing the enemy, snarling for eternity. And for the men, for you, the poet Simonides writes 2 lines, just 2 lines to summarize a lifetime of pain, hunger, and discipline. Go tell the Spartans, stranger passing by, that here, obedient to their laws, we lie. Think about those words. Obedient. To a modern ear, obedience sounds like slavery. It sounds like weakness. But to you, obedience was the highest form of freedom. You were not obedient to a master. You were obedient to the law, to the code you chose, to the brotherhood you forged. You chose to stand when you could have run. You chose to die when you could have lived. That is the ultimate freedom. The freedom to spend your life on something bigger than yourself. The centuries roll by. The rains fall. The empires rise and fall. Rome comes and admires you. The Ottomans come and ignore you. The modern world rises with its machines and its noise. But the hill remains, the stone remains, and the echo of your life remains. You are the archetype. Every time a soldier stands his ground against overwhelming odds, your ghost is there. Every time a firefighter runs into a burning building while others run out, your spirit is there. Every time a man refuses to compromise his principles for the sake of comfort, he is drawing from the well of strength you dug 2,500 years ago. You are not just a dead soldier in a history book. You are the iron in the spine of Western civilization. And what of you? Where are you now? You are in the Elysian fields. The sun is warm, but not burning. The grass is soft, not like the reeds of the barracks. There is no hunger here. There is no cold. You are sitting by a river that is clear and cool. You look up. Xander is there, wrestling with Lycos on the grass, both of them young again, whole again, laughing without fear. Leonidas sits on a stone bench, cleaning his sword, watching his men with a father's pride. You look down at the river. You see a reflection. It is not the scarred, battered face of the warrior who died on the hill. It is the face of the 7-year-old boy who walked out of his father's gate. But there is no fear in his eyes now. There is only peace. You hear a sound. You look across the river. A young man is walking toward you. He is strong. He wears the crimson cloak. He carries a shield that has seen battle. He looks exactly like you. It is your son. He lived a full life. He fought at Plataea. He raised his own sons. He grew old. And now he has come to find you. He wades across the river. He stands before you. He does not salute. He drops his shield and embraces you. I kept it, he whispers. I came back with it. You smile. You hold him. The long watch is over. The wall held. The line is unbroken. You close your eyes, surrounded by your brothers, surrounded by your blood. You are no longer the wolf of the Agoge. You are no longer the ghost of the hot gates. You are simply a man who did his duty, and that is enough. The wind blows through the pass of Thermopylae today. If you listen closely, if you shut out the noise of the modern world and listen to the silence of the stones, you can still hear it, the rhythm of the march, the beat of the heart. Come and take them. This concludes the story of the Spartan. From the first cry at birth to the final peace in Elysium. A legend written in blood, etched in stone, and remembered forever. Thank you for listening. Sleep well and remember the wolf. Good night.